One reason why a guy will criticize every little thing that you do is because people generally don't feel good about hurting somebody they know doesn't deserve it. And so what a man will do is use that criticism as a way to convince you and or himself that you're really not that good of a person. Look at that as him basically saying, hey, look at me. I know the way that I'm treating you on a day-to-day basis is foul. Or, hey, I'm doing something behind your back that's really trifling and I want to feel better about it. Therefore, I'm going to continue to cut you down. And you know you're in this situation when you try to communicate about what the issue may be, about what problem he may have, and he shuts it down. Why? Because communication will start to undo that negative construct he's built up in his mind about you. And that negative construct that he has safeguards his guilty conscience. So instead of trying to talk about the issue, he just wants to keep going on, making you out to be the issue.
You know, a lot of people call Derrick Jaxn a simp or a down bad simp or a liar or all these different things. No. Derrick Jaxn was who he was. Derrick Jaxn peeped the weakness in the game and exploited it for what goes on online. A lot of these women that followed Derrick Jaxn knew that he was full of you know what? They didn't care. What he did was hold a mirror up and expose the sisterhood and just expose how disloyal a lot of sisters are to other black women. See, we can talk all day about the black man and how dysfunctional he is and all the things. And I would say, you know what? In a lot of instances, that's true, right? We have dysfunction within our community. But the one thing that was not allowed to be talked about for a long time is about our sisters, right? Right outside of the hip hop music. But in our communities, listen, Derrick Jaxn exposed what a lot of women already knew, right? A lot of these women was looking at his aesthetics and they was waiting to just get their turn. They didn't care nothing about his wife. They didn't care nothing about none of that stuff he was talking about. They was looking at the images that he was projecting. All that stuff that he was saying, yeah, it sounded good, but they knew he was full of crap. So now when y'all seeing him get on there with his wife and embarrass Danae and holding her hand, saying that he stepped out and cheated and all that kind of stuff, well, it was black women that went into his house and slept with him. It was black women that bent over and spread them cheeks for him, right? And it's black women that's still supporting him now. But y'all remember when he did this?
The truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derrick Jaxn was involved with other women outside the marriage. And by involved, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about just casually kicking it, maybe a lunch or something like that. I'm talking about as serious as sex, to sexual flirtation and meeting up and that kind of thing. And some things that otherwise may be considered okay by some in terms of like just chatting or checking on people or being checked on by people that I've had a previous encounter with. But without my wife's knowledge of it and with us having a sexual history, all of it falls under the umbrella of inappropriate, cheating, affair, stepping out.
So everybody's mad at him, right? But he's doing what he's allowed to do. He's doing what a lot of these women want him to do. Say things that make me feel good. Say these things, and then what he like 6'4", dark skin, a bunch of muscles. That's what they care about, right? They They don't care nothing about all that stuff about choosing a good man and all that. Man, a lot of them women in the sisterhood, see, because remember I told you, I'm not pro-black man, pro-black woman, I'm pro-black community. And the same way I call out the black man, I call out a lot of these scallywag garden tools. Yeah, because they exist. For every man out here that's a dog or a hoe, and I'm only talking about our community. For every man out here that's a dog or a hoe, there's a available coochie providing a service for him. So these women is doing the same thing these dudes is doing. I ain't with all this internet lying stuff. I come from outside. These girls out here frisbeeing the coochie around. They was doing it during the Greek picnic. They doing it now. And all he did was to have access to more coochie. He went out there and told these women what they wanted to hear, walked around with his shirt off at 6'4", dark skin with muscles, and all them women ran over there wet as a goddamn, bathtub. Right? Ran over there to him. They didn't care nothing about his wife. Nothing. She was to the point where he drove her so crazy, she was online casting spells, biblical spells on people like this.
Every person speaking against the names Danae Jaxn and Derrick Jaxn in mockery, accusations, slanders, and lies, may the mercies of God be withdrawn from you. May your husbands and wives become widows. Let your children become fatherless. Let your seed become vagabonds on the earth. Let the words of your mouth and your words of your hands be returned back to you. Let it go down your throat and choke you slowly until your days become few on the earth.
So he understood that I can come online and I can gain a following by just saying anything. I have to first look like something, right? I have to first meet the requirements of what they say they want. Okay, I'm 6'4", 6'3". I'm dark skinned. I got a lot of muscles, right? Let me just say off the wall stuff that dudes, black men would be like, man, get out of here. But the women would be like, did you see what that man looked like? Did you hear what he was saying? Girl, you know he got a wife. Girl, I don't care. Right? Come on, man. Right? So he would get online and just say some of the wildest stuff, off Michael Jackson, off the wall stuff, right? He would get online and say this kind of stuff.
You know, treating her wrong is all fun and games until she's uninterested, unreachable, and unavailable. Like, y'all think y'all could put a good woman on emotional layaway by putting down a love bomb and deposit while you put her on hold so you can keep shopping around. And it may work for a little while, but what y'all don't realize is every ignored text, every time you tell her she's being argumentative by holding you accountable, every time that you say she's stressing you out because she's explaining her feelings, you're not just disappointing her. You're not just breaking her heart. You are building her disgust for you, brick by brick, until it becomes a house that evicts you out of her life, and all that potential that she saw in you gets put out on the lawn. That's what I always say. Anytime you neglect a woman, you just teaching her to live without you. So you can't be mad when she perfects the craft. But why is it that we only do this to the good girls? Why is it that the home wreckers and the girls who's just for the streets, they got us jumping through hoops? Like, they ain't good enough to build a family with, but they're good enough for us to throw our family away for. Why is it that the good girls who only want love and reciprocity, they just become our safe space to be unsafe for them? I'll tell you why. It's because to an immature man, a woman's loyalty feels like a permission slip to be lazy. So you think you just gonna sit back while she do all the work to keep the relationship intact. That's how you end up unemployed. Now the calls that used to get answered on the first ring, getting sent to voicemail. Now the DMs that you send, they getting left on red until her page shows this user no longer exists because you blocked. Now all of them tears that you shedding as you try to remind her of the good times, just remind her of the tears she used to shed that you ignored. And that's not her punishing you or playing games. That's her detached and done. Even if you have went and gone and talked to the lady and you had a change of heart and you've grown into a man who's ready to cherish this woman who is down the ride for you, you might as well go ahead and pass up her exit onto somebody else that didn't have to crash and burn first for you to learn how to drive.
So he said, why do we always do this to the good girls? Not the floozies, right? That's running around shaking ass everywhere. You know, we do everything for them, but the good girls, we got them jumping through hoops. We messing with their emotional intelligence. Look what he did to his wife, and brought her all on social media, right? He embarrassed her because she has the more homely look, right? She looks like the more woman. While you outside boat racing cheeks and running around, she at home because see he had his wife. But then when you look at all the women he cheating with, these are the women he wanted. It's kind of like the woman. She got the husband at home, but then watch who she sleep around with, right? The dudes she sleep around with don't look nothing like the husband she got at home. She got the husband at home because she can control him. He listens. He acquiesces to her what she wants. But a lot of times she ain't even attracted to that. She want a dude to tell her what to do and give her hard times and trouble. Because you look at what they gravitate to. So now, when you listen to a Derrick Jaxn, these women know he was bad. They know he was a cheater. They know he was full of crap, but they still gravitate towards him. So this proves my point, right? And he's saying that men are doing the same thing, right? It's just a whole cesspool of dysfunction. But he still has a following. He still have women following him because we're used to drama and trauma. The actual good person, you don't really want that person. They're not exciting enough. They don't please you enough. Or you're not even really psychologically giving them a chance because you're used to trauma and trouble. So if it's not trauma and trouble, I'm not turned on by it. He held a mirror up to a lot of the sisterhood, man, and y'all all fell for it. But there's some women that's calling him out, right? There's some women that's exposing his shenanigans. They're talking like this.
At the end of the day, this like master manipulator who cheats on his wife all the time, or was cheating on his wife, ex-wife, right? Whatever is going on there, and has you all following him for relationship advice. Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. You watched it go down. You watched her hold his hand while he was explaining how much he was cheating on him. We've seen the podcast episodes where she was off her rocker, right? Talking about, oh, I didn't like my dark-skinned daughter because it reminded me of the women he was cheating on me with. Whoa, whatever you got going on there. And you still want to hear what he has to say about how women should be treated? Massive. Like, he can post things like, ladies, actually, hold on, let me show you. The number of women who aren't interested in entertaining any man right now is shocking. Y'all really turned women all the way off. He doesn't post like he's him. He is the y'all. We watch his wife curse us when she went on live and read a curse from the Bible about the women that were talking bad about her marriage while her man was cheating.
So now after he left his woman, he was online saying that he got a new woman. He found happiness. He's happy. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. So now a lot of women is online leaving comments. This first one said, always a butterfly. This is the type he truly wanted. Wasted that woman's time, right? Somebody else said he bought the new house with the money women gave him to tell lies. Shout out to that brother. Somebody else said, still on Facebook giving relationship advice, right? Listen, he's an actual person that can give relationship advice because he's the one that's out there doing all the shenanigans. This hits different when you're finally with your type, LOL, right? Man, listen, this guy was insane, man. Then somebody said, had the first wife out there thinking she had to dress like Mom's Mabley in order to be a good wife. Meanwhile, this has been his type all along, right? Then somebody else said, smiling like she isn't the next victim. Then this is the perfect example as to why you have to be careful with who you pour time into and help build, because he will use you until he can't no more, then drop you after he gets to the level in life he wants. He wants to be with somebody else. Then somebody said, yep, never suffer with any man. It ain't worth it. Be the girl that spends his money and stands on business. I feel bad for his ex. And I'm gonna tell you something as an OG. This comment this woman left, she's the woman that'll go for a Derrick Jaxn, get her cheeks boat raised up, give him all her money, destroy her credit. So don't listen to a lot of that stupid stuff these women say. When you're a woman, you hear another woman say this, do not take advice from her. Because the advice she's giving is the very thing, she's the very victim of this stuff. Don't listen to these women, man. Stop listening to them. I'm telling y'all, man. Oh my God, man. But this dude is a guy that peeped the grift and he exploited it. But he was showing the mirror up to a lot of women. A lot of women, you can learn from a lot of these women. A lot of the things that these women say that they want, they don't want it. They don't want a good man. They don't want a man that come and help them take care of the kids and help them, pay bills and all that kind of stuff. No, they don't want that man. He too soft. They want a man, and in their mind, their idea of masculinity is over aggression, make them feel protected, bang their brains out in the bed, and loud, and he's not productive. He's not a producer. If you got a guy that's nice, that love on you, that's a producer, she's going to take advantage of him. It's just messed up. She will end up sleeping with the guy on the job or at the gym or doing all these things because normalcy, right, in love is uncomfortable. Oh, he's corny. That's not all women, but when you're dealing with the sisterhood and you're dealing in our communities, that goes on every day. Every day. And I've been speaking out about this for years. For years. When you look at the way our women been conditioned and trained to choose men. It's part of our ongoing dysfunction. We know that we got black men going around here slinging ding-a-ling everywhere and ain't taking their kids, ain't providing protection, direction, and correction. Derrick Jaxn is one of them. We know we got a whole bunch of out-of-control, dysfunctional Negroes. But guess what? Those out-of-control, dysfunctional Negroes is messing with out-of-control, dysfunctional black women. That say they want something, but showing their actions, they want the latter. They want something totally different. When that woman was in his house, right, knowing he had a wife, you think she cared? This happens in the black community every single day. You think these women care about a man having a woman? No. So we got to call this thing out and call it for what it is. Derrick Jaxn was only exposing and exploiting what already exists. If the culture didn't exist, it wouldn't be no Derrick Jaxn. He exists because of the culture. So I'm gonna cut this video short here. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.